auditioned for Countryfile.
Sorry to interrupt, very nice sheep.
Matt considers his Christmas list.
I feel like I need a captain's hat. Maybe a cannon.
And Harris has an Einstein moment.
There we go.
Top Gear.
Yes, hello. Now, usually when you hear the term lightweight, you think of bars and drink and vomit.
Thank you. But on this show, that term refers to a very small, special group of British car enthusiasts.
These are the great British super lightweights. They're raucous, they're uncomfortable, and most of all, they're totally impractical.
Not that any of that really matters, because the only thing that does is how exciting they are to drive. And the fast track route to the most thrills per gallon is as little line as possible, with as much oomph as your piggy bank will stretch to.
On the racetrack, these super lightweights are an absolute riot. They're pure and honest, modest and humble. However, back in the real world, their lack of creature comforts means they can be a bit of a physical challenge. So how does the new kid on the block compare? It's time to meet the Xenos E10. It's designed and built in Britain by two ex-Lotus and Caterham guys, who still promise a double helping of fun without the side order of scary.
There are three versions of the E10, the entry level for 25 grand, the top of the range R, and this, the S,
which boasts a 2-litre turbo engine from Ford's hot hatch department.
The 30 grand will buy you 250 brake horsepower, 145 miles per hour, and 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds.
And all this in something that looks like Darth Vader's weekend wheels.
The E10S is blessed with the gearbox, engine and other mechanical hardware from the Ford Focus ST, which is not a slow car, but stick all of its guts in a four-wheeled bobsleigh Superleggera, and this is what's going to happen. Supreme performance with a bare minimum of skin and bone to slow him down.
The E10S weighs a mere 725 kilos, about half the weight of the Ford Focus. Partly because Xenos have done away with all those heavy non-essentials like windows, or a boot, or a roof. But also because it's built of something called carbon fibre reinforced plastic, which is incredibly light and incredibly strong too.
Now, it could be said that the E10S's panels look a bit flimsy, and frankly, they are. But it's all part of that grand plan. Think about these panels as more sacrificial than cheap. Xenos have gone all Lego on us, so if you run out of talent on a track day, it's so much easier to replace a bit than a lot. Because the rest of the car is so solid and so light, it's the perfect platform for stability. Enables the car to remain planted almost all of the time. the inner Hamilton in all of us. The steering is so tight and bright. Marvellous. Joyous. Heavenly. I love the whooshing and the hissing and the oozing and the urging and the screaming and the... Come on, Christopher! Faster, my son! Here we go again! The Xenos then gives you all the thrills you want from a proper British super lightweight, but without feeling the need to have to beat you up. This car really doesn't want to fight you. It wants to be your friend. I mean, it has its downsides. The gear throw's a bit long. The brakes you've got to really sort of stand on at first till you get used to them. But compared to most super lightweights, it's like a blooming Rolls-Royce Corniche. When developing their mini masterpiece, Xenos invited potential customers to drive the prototypes and give their feedback. So this car is more of what super lightweight fans want, rather than what a manufacturer thinks they should get. But all those Ford bits means it's got parts supply sorted. Reliability should be boringly excellent. Fixing it should be easy, and it's safe and it's noisy. But most important of all, it's still respectfully impractical. Which it has to be, because it's a super lightweight. And that's the law.
That was fun. That was great. Was it fun?
No. Yes. What I meant, no, I meant yes. Yes, no. It is a lot of fun, but the thing about cars like this is they are painful. They hurt. They hurt your back, they hurt your arms, they hurt your wrist, they really hurt your bum. And some people have been known to ache for the rest of their lives after driving a super lightweight for just 5 minutes.
Yeah, but the people who love these cars, the people who own these cars, they worship them, right?
They do, because they're a bit mad. I mean, I salute them, but I wouldn't want to live next door to one. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, so to see how fast the Xenos goes around... To see how fast the Xenos goes around our test track, it's time to hand it over to our tame racing driver. Some say that on a first date, he always clips the apex. And that he's touched every one of the untouchables.
All we know is he's called... So, the Xenos E10S then, a classically British lightweight in classically British conditions today. Into the first corner, the Xenos looking locked down as you like. Stick, crafty, happening, crafty. Chicago. Listen to the turbo engine suck and blow, hiss, pop, bang. Very neutral through Hammerhead. Not a sniff of a slide there. Immaculate. Happening, crafty happening. The Xenos for the honour of Norfolk. Bouncing past the tyre wall. Sacrificial panels unsacrificed. Bit of a squirm as Stig stomps on the brakes. Finally through Gambon. Little skid on the exit and across the line. So, before I post this time up on the Power Lap Time board, we're looking at other lightweights. We've got the Caterham 620R, 122.3, and then we go up the board, the BAC Mono, the king, or queen, of the lightweights, 114.3, and the Xenos E10S, on a mildly moist and damp day, has come in at 125.1, which is just about there. It's okay. That's okay.
While Chris was dealing with the pain of the Xenos, I was dealing with the pain of the new Rolls-Royce. The Rolls-Royce Dawn. 17 feet and 250,000 pounds, a very British convertible. And yes, 17-foot long, 250,000 pound convertibles can sometimes run the risk of being a bit attention-seeking, shouty. Case in point, way out in front, a twin-turbo 6.6-liter V12 engine will, at your request, serve up 563 horsepower. It'll proceed from a standstill to 60 miles an hour in under 5 seconds, which is very invigorating. But the rest of the messy physics of driving are kept well and truly below deck. Generally, when you buy the convertible version of an expensive car with a large engine and many cylinders, it's so you can hear that large engine with many cylinders. But the Dawn is far too diplomatic for anything so uncouth as engine noise. Huh. And it's far too polite to concern you with nonsense like feedback. The steering tells you pretty much nothing about what's going on with the tires. Just occasionally you get the merest hint through the chassis that you may have run over something fairly significant, like a buffalo. And that's a good thing. If you want to feel every inch of the tarmac through your fingertips, buy a Lotus. And if it's all still a bit intrusive, you can always deploy the roof. You could hear a cricket fart in here. Oh. Even though the Dawn will do 155 miles an hour if called upon, you get the sense it would prefer to call ahead and let them know you'll be late. It's a car that'll go as fast as you'll ever need, but makes you want to take your time. Delve beneath its bold, sleek lines, and you're met with a level of detail that is second to none. The doors open the wrong way because, well, it seems like there's no practical reason other than the fact that it's really cool, but it makes it easier to access this, your umbrella. And then when you're done with your umbrella, the Dawn circulates warm air around its little scabbard to dry it off. Sweet. And if you think that's a bit over the top, how about this little gem from the promotional literature? The rear passengers do not merely get out of a Rolls-Royce Dawn, but rather stand and disembark as if from a motor launch onto a glamorous private jetty. Let's give it a go. I can almost smell the ocean. And then there's the Dawn's most imposing feature. Oh, that's tight. Oh, wow. And that's, well, it's huge. Sorry, buddy. Ah. And that leads to the small matter of parking it. Ooh, that's tight. Oh, let me try that again. She's definitely big. Oh, I'm on the curve. One more crack at that. Okay, gotta be careful now. We don't want to scuff the wheels. They're about 2,000 pounds a pop. Jeez. At least nobody saw that. Not what you'd call subtle, then. But get the Dawn out on the wide, very wide open road, and it really starts to get under your skin. You don't drive this thing, you captain it, as you would a cruise liner. I feel like I need a captain's hat. Maybe a cannon. Delusions of grandeur? Perhaps. But that's what the Dawn does to you. Okay, maybe it is a bit attention-seeking, a bit shouty, but hey, it's got plenty to shout about. So nice. So nice. I like it. Call me crazy. Call me ostentatious. Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm driving a roller down the road. Oh.
It does pain me to admit this, but he does suit the car, doesn't he?
Thank you.
This car is undoubtedly a five-star, magnificent example of British engineering. However, two glitches in my book.
Two?
Okay? Two. First of all, why do Rolls always insist on sticking their granny's brooch on the most beautiful, futuristic grills imaginable? Why do they do that?
What, the spirit of ecstasy? What's wrong with that?
Well, why don't they make it more contemporary? So you look at it and you think, no, it's all part of the same thing.
You don't like it?
No, I hate it. I know it's still there. That's just like sweeping the problem under the carpet.
That's the way you're supposed to deal with problems.
Answer this question then. Have Rolls come up with a button to make the whole back end of the car disappear? Look at this, it's awful, it's hideous. It looks like a blue wall that somebody's just stuck a number plate on.
What's the matter with the back?
The back is terrible. You won't know this, right? But the back of this brand new Rolls-Royce Dawn looks like a Rover 75. Look! What's that about?
It's all right, too.
Really?
What's the problem?
Look, you've got these gorgeous sweeping lines, you've got these really muscular haunches, you've got a really tight torso for such a big vehicle, and then they went home and the designers forgot to come back and we're left with this.
All right, so you don't like the back of the car?
Yes.
Okay, do you feel better now?
I'm okay for now, for now.
Okay, all right, well, we'll come back to that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad he's done with that. We'll be returning to the Dawn later as it takes on an icon from the past. Right now, it's special ops time, as Top Gear's lone wolf, Chris Harris, comes to grips with BMW's latest tire slayer.
If you lived in the 1990s and you wanted to buy a fast car, but you couldn't afford a Porsche 911, you bought one of these. A BMW M3. It was quick, it was rear-wheel drive, it was affordable-ish, and most importantly, on a wet roundabout, it would do big skids. It was therefore perfect. Fast forward 20 years, and you can still buy an M3. It looks like this. Yes, it's very fast and very impressive, but the M3 isn't really an M3 anymore. It's become bigger, more complicated, much more grown up. So what if you want your M3 like they used to be? This is the M2. Named in honour of one of Kent's finest stretches of motorway. Not really. It's called the M2 because it's based on the 2 Series, BMW's smallest coupe, and what BMW has done here is actually quite old-fashioned. Just like that old M3 from the 90s, there's a manual gearbox. You can have a paddle shift if you want, but trust me, you don't. And just like that old M3 from the 90s, you get a 3-litre straight-six engine. OK, it's turbocharged now, but that does mean 365 horsepower and 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. A lot of modern turbocharged engines have clever software that limits the torque at low revs to stop you spinning the wheels and to make it more manageable. The M2, however, is not interested in manageable. So full torque, that's the stuff that gives you the big shove in the back, arrives at just 1500 RPM and it stays there pretty much all the way. So you don't have to find the M2's sweet spot, it's just there the whole time. And with all this torque on tap, you can slide about a bit. A lot, actually. It's a little angry ball of energy, this car. It's like the pent-up bloke in the pub who starts a fight with just about anyone for staring at his pint the wrong way. You! What are you looking at? Now, admittedly, this kind of attitude does tend to attract a certain type of buyer. There's no denying that fast BMW saloons still carry a faint suspicion of the mobile phone salesman done good about them. And the headlights actually have 3 different settings. There's dip beam, main beam, and get out of my way, I'm on business! Deal! Deal! And, image problems aside, there are just a couple of other minor flaws. Complete geeks like me will notice that there is no oil temperature gauge. I always thought M cars had to have an oil temperature gauge, but this one doesn't, nor is the gear knob illuminated. I know, you're shocked at the depths of my sadness, aren't you? But it's one of those cars that makes you qualify everything with a, but what else can you get for the money? And also, what more can you expect? Well, it's not often you introduce an Audi as the budget option, but this is the RS3. It makes the same power as the BMW, and at £40,000, it's £4 cheaper. Because it's got four-wheel drive, it'll get from 0 to 60 much quicker. In fact, it'll get anywhere much quicker. It is a deliriously, stupidly fast car. Has bigger back seats, too, if you care about that sort of thing. In fact, on paper, it's just a winner. But you don't drive cars on paper.